So if you're a fan of Zakk Wylde, you will no doubt be keeping yourself up to date with all of the new signature gear that Zakk has been putting out over the years. If you are a fan and you've been following his gear journey, you will no doubt be aware of his signature pedals that he had with MXR. Well, in this video today, we're going to be checking out a brand new pedal, which is a collaboration between MXR and Zakk Wylde to celebrate 20 years of working together. This is the Wylde Audio Overdrive. So Wylde Audio is an imprint company that Zakk Wylde has, and inside this company he makes a bunch of different products. All of these products are kind of built and designed by bigger brands, but they're put out under the Wylde Audio name. So you may have seen the Wylde Audio guitars that Zakk is currently playing on tour. Those are produced by Schecter. The Wylde Audio pedals are produced by MXR. So in my hand today I'm holding the Overdrive. Now this is sort of the modern successor to Zakk's very well-selling Bezerker Overdrive that MXR originally created. So it's kind of the same layout. It's sort of based on that Tube Screamer or the MXR GT-OD kind of infrastructure. Very simple 3-knob overdrive that works great as a kind of medium gain overdrive on its own. Or you can do what Zakk does and pair it with an already overdriven amp to push the amp over the edge. So before we start checking the specs out of this thing, I just want to let you guys know this is not a sponsored video today. The guys at MXR in the UK have sent me this on loan. I'm not getting paid for the video and I'm not keeping the pedal. And as always, all the thoughts and opinions in the video are my own. So spec-wise, this is a very, very simple pedal. It's very easy to get some great sounds out of. So the first thing you'll notice is that it has Zakk's trademark bullseye design to it. And it's just a very simple 3-knob overdrive. We have the output here, which just controls the output volume, the tone, which controls the overall tone. You turn it down like so to get a darker tone, and up to get a brighter tone, and the gain control. The higher you push this, the more gain there is. So even though this is a Zakk Wylde pedal, even with this on full gain, you're not going to get some super heavy saturated overdrive tones. It's a good kind of medium pushed gain. It's got enough grunt to be your kind of standalone rhythm tone. But if you're looking for crushing metal tones, you either need to stack this with another drive pedal or put it into the front of an already overdriven amp. Like with all MXR products, this thing is built like an absolute tank. Zakk Wylde is not really known as the gentlest player in the industry, and this thing has been built to his standards. So obviously he's taking these on tour himself and he's stamping on them night after night So they have to live up to someone like Zakk stamping on them, so they do need to be roadworthy. I also think the clear knobs on this are a really nice touch. So you can see there on top of the pedal that the clear knobs don't actually detract from the actual graphic on the pedal. You can see what the knob is set to because of the little black marker, but if they were white knobs or black knobs, it would kind of interfere with the background a little bit more than it actually does. So I think that's a nice visual touch on MXR's part. We've got side-mounted jacks and a side-mounted 9-volt DC unit. And that really is all there is about this pedal. It's very simple. This one is obviously finished in silver and black. As you can see, it's silver all the way around with Zakk's signature there on the bottom. There are two other pedals in this range, the Phaser and the Chorus, which also have similar designs. They've just got different guitar patterns on from Zakk's kind of main guitar imagery. But yeah, that's kind of it really in terms of spec. So I'm just going to plug this thing in now and we'll hear some sounds. Alright, so gear-wise, I'm using my 1988 Charvel 3DR. This is plugged into the Blackstar St. James 6L6, which is running completely clean, and that's going via the 2-Notes Torpedo Captor X. So the clean tone that I'm playing with is this. So I'm going to start just by switching the pedal on. As you can see here, everything is just set to midnight. So first impressions with everything at 12 o'clock is that that's probably not what you expected from a Zakk Wylde Overdrive. Now when we think of Zakk, we think of a huge guitar sound, loads of gain, loads of punch and attack, and that actually sounds a lot more classic. Because the way Zakk would use this is he would pair it with an already overdriven amp, or multiple amps as he often does. Now, the cool thing with this pedal is, tonally this appeals to people who aren't Zakk Wylde fans. Because if you don't play Zakk's kind of music, but you want a really versatile modern overdrive, this is a great entry point into that world. So I'm going to start off by exploring some lower gain tones. So from the gain at 0, where we're going to get just kind of like a little push up to halfway, and I'm going to move the tone control as I play as well. So in that first half of the gain control's range, there's some really interesting tones. Now the tone control, I think, actually sounds best when you're playing with it kind of just either side of midnight. If you go too far down, the sound gets quite fat and woolly. And then if you go too far the other way, like even as far as 3 o'clock, it's very bright. But also there's a big volume difference there. The brighter tone is way louder, and obviously if you're playing live, that's going to cut a lot more. I think with this pedal, the real secrets are kind of just either side of midnight. If you want a little bit more top boost or a little bit more warmth, you're probably not going to be wanting to do massively, extreme EQ things with this. And I guess part of that is because Zakk would have designed this really to pair with an amp, and the amp would already be EQ'd the way you want it. So the tone control is kind of like a fine-tuning last minute thing. So now I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but with the higher range of the gain control. So this is where we're really going to get the max gain levels out of this thing. So there it is, the Wylde Audio Overdrive. Now, like I said earlier on in the video, if you're a fan of Zakk Wylde, you're probably expecting this to have way more gain on tap. Actually, this is slightly more classic voiced. So I think where this really works is it's a really cool take on the kind of tube screamer topology. I guess it's probably based very closely on the MXR GT-OD that Zakk would have probably used at some point as well. It's simple, to the point, doesn't have too much gain, but it's got enough gain. If you're playing classic rock or hard rock, there's enough there to keep you going. There's enough there to get that kind of good fat rhythm tone if you are playing, like I said, classic rock, hard rock into a clean amp. But then obviously the way Zakk would use this is he would use this to push another already overdriven amp. This would also stack really well too. The tone control on this thing is very, very wide ranging. As you've seen, it goes from super dark to incredibly bright and cutting. So you're probably not going to be doing too many extreme shifts to that. I would probably recommend just using that as a final kind of tweak to your tone. Once you've got your amp dialed in and you're pairing this overdrive with it or stacking it with another overdrive, use that tone control just left or right of center to really just nail the tone you're trying to go for. This overdrive pedal, I think, is absolutely great. The reason I love this is because it doesn't just do the Zakk Wylde thing. And I think that's really important because even though this is something he uses to craft his own signature sound, this can also appeal to so many other players. Whether you play metal or not, you could play blues with this thing. You could play classic rock with this thing. You could use it as a cleanish boost to another overdrive pedal or a clean amp. There's so many possibilities that this thing can do that aren't just the Zakk Wylde thing. And that to me makes this a really great pedal. I love the way this thing sounds, and yeah, I think MXR and Wylde Audio done a great job. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the sounds of this thing down below in the comments. While you're doing that, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. And I'll see you guys all very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, as always.